Good day, subscribers. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am Jeremy. This is the Financial Education Channel, and today we're talking a little politics, which we very rarely ever touch on this channel. But I had so many of you guys request to do something about the Trump versus Clinton and how it may affect the stock markets and all those kinds of things. So what I've decided to do is I've decided to make a video just focusing on what their economic plans are. Unfortunately, the media is so caught up in the personalities and what this person said or what this person did that millions of voters that are going to be voting this week have no clue whatsoever about the majority of economic policies and where each of the candidates stand. So that's what this video is about. If you came to this video hoping I would give a biased agenda to one candidate or the other, then you can go ahead and click off this video now because I am not here to do that. If you want to hear me talk about Hillary and the FBI and emails and talk about Trump and sexual assault cases and things like that, then you clicked on the wrong video because that's not what we're discussing today. If you want to watch that, go watch their TV out there because there's plenty of crap. That's all they talk about constantly. They almost never touch on economic policies, and the economic policies are what is actually going to possibly change yours and your family's life for the better or for the worse, depending on where you stand. So I just want to share with you guys where they stand on some of these big economic issues, and you can decide for yourself what side do you actually stand on. Now also, I would love to see in the comments section what you guys think about some of these economic policies, and if I miss anything on one of the candidates and you want to go more into depth on something I might not have covered, I would love to hear that. What I don't want to see in the comments section is you guys talking about negatively about Clinton because of something or Trump because of something as far as things they've done in the past and whatnot and bad decisions they've made or those kinds of things, because that's what basically has filled up everybody's mind, and the media has focused around that and not focused around the economic policies. So I would love to see some economic policy discussion if you guys want to share. Let's go ahead and get into this right off the bat, guys. So first big economic policy we're talking about is taxes. Now, Clinton's stance on this, she would largely maintain the current tax code. So the poor people, middle class, is going to be paying around the same tax rate. And she would be doing increases for wealthier taxpayers, meaning pretty much mostly the top 10% of the country would see tax increases. Everybody else would see about the same. Trump, however, he feels like he wants to do broad across the board tax cuts. So tax cuts for poor people, tax cuts for the middle class, tax cuts for the wealthy. It doesn't matter who you are, you're going to get a tax cut under Trump's plans. That's what his plans are. So, right then and there, you can see a clear difference on what you feel, tax-wise. Do you want to pay the same rate you're paying now and see wealthier people pay more, or do you want to just see everybody's taxes go down? Where do you stand on that? So next one's up is minimum wage, another very simple subject. Minimum wage, Clinton wants to raise the minimum wage to $12 nationally, in some locations, so some states, up to $15. Now, minimum wage federally, I believe, is around $8.25 currently. So that's a substantial increase in the minimum wage. Trump says he has said that he does not support a federal minimum wage, but wants the states to set their own minimum wage. So basically that means the states could decide, hey, you know what, we're going to pay a $15 minimum wage. Hey, we're paying an $8 minimum wage. So that's another one, where do you guys stand on that? Next one up, and this one I'm going to go more into depth because a lot of people do not even know what it is. It's TPP, which stands for the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Clinton helped negotiate that, but now recently she's expressed some skepticism on TPP and whether it's a good thing or not, but she did help negotiate it. And Trump has come out fully against it, and he's just very against TPP and thinks it's a horrible thing. He says it's one of the worst trade deals ever signed. But let's go ahead and get into what actual TPP is and how it could affect your guys' lives. So the Trans-Pacific Partnership, TPP, is a free trade agreement between the United States and 11 other partners bordering the Pacific Ocean. On February 4th, 2016, so very recently, officials from each country signed the agreement. The negotiations were successfully concluded on October 4th, 2015. Now, the countries that are involved in this is Australia, some country I don't even know how to pronounce, so I'm not even going to touch that, Canada, Chile, Japan, Malaysia, Mexico, New Zealand, Peru, Singapore, the United States, and Vietnam. Now, the countries involved produce 40% of the world's total GDP. That's kind of not a surprise when you have the United States in there. Now, let's go over the pros and cons of TPP so you guys can kind of understand both sides of the coin. The pros is that TPP boosts exports and economic growth, creating more jobs and prosperity for the 12 countries involved. It increases exports by $305 billion per year by 2025. U.S. exports would increase $123 billion, focusing on machinery, especially electrical, autos, plastics, and agricultural industries. It does this by removing 18,000 tariffs placed on U.S. exports to the other countries. The United States has already withdrawn 80% of these tariffs on foreign imports. The TPP evens the playing field. The agreement adds $223 billion a year in incomes to workers in all the countries, with $77 billion supposedly going to the U.S. workers. So that is the pro side of TPP. That's the positives. Now let's go ahead and look at the cons of TPP now so you can understand that as well. So here are some of the cons. Most of the gains in income would go to workers making more than $88,000 per year. Free trade agreements contribute to income inequality, which is already a big problem in the United States. In high-wage countries, which the United States is a high-wage country, just so you guys know, by promoting cheaper goods from low-wage countries. So let's say currently or in the past there's been a tariff on, let's say, towels made in another country. Well, now if TPP lifts that, then towels will be able to come in and be sold for even cheaper, making it even harder for a higher income type country like the United States to compete effectively. That would be especially true of the TPP because it protects patents and copyrights. Therefore, the higher paid owners of the intellectual property would receive more of the income gains. The agreement regarding patents will reduce the availability of cheap generics, making many drugs more expensive. Competitive business pressures will reduce the incentives in Asia to protect the environment. Last but not least, the trade agreement could supersede financial regulations. So that is the con side, guys. So right there you have a lot of different pros, you have a lot of different cons. So right then and there you guys should be able to decide what side you're on a TPP. Let's go ahead on to the next subject. So now we're talking about the manufacturing sector. This has been another very important topic because the swing states manufacturing used to be really, really important, and it still is important. And a lot of those states jobs have left to other countries. You know, places like Ohio and Pennsylvania and some of those places. So Clinton favors tax incentives for investment in hard-hit manufacturing locals and incentives for companies to bring back jobs to the U.S. Also favors increased policies of trading partners. Trump proposes using aggressive trade enforcement and possible tariff increases to rebuild the manufacturing industry. So basically, just so you guys can understand Trump's stance, if you don't quite understand that, he's basically saying he wants to negotiate, and he wants to negotiate hard, and then let's go back to the towel thing. Let's say he wants towels to be made in the United States. Place a huge tariff on towels that are coming in from other countries, and then the price on those towels will be so much higher, then our workers could then start producing towels and compete effectively versus some country that's paying their workers 50 cents an hour. The argument against that would be, okay, well then towels might be $10 versus right now they're $3 or whatnot. Can people really pay $10 for a towel? So that's a whole subject there. Worker retraining. Clinton enhanced worker retraining options such as a tax credit for businesses of $1,500 per apprentice. So That's Clinton's stance on basically worker retraining. From right now, I have not seen Trump support anything as far as worker retraining goes. If you guys have seen something, I know he's come out with a lot of different stuff within the past week or two. If you have seen something in regards to worker retraining, let me know in the comment section. I haven't seen anything yet. So I know he came out with healthcare plans and things like that I've seen, but I've seen nothing on worker retraining. Infrastructure. Clinton would boost federal investment by $275 billion over 5 years and create a $25 billion infrastructure bank. Trump supports infrastructure expansion but hasn't offered funding details. Once again, if you guys know anything about funding details that Trump may have added recently, I would love to see that in the comment section. I haven't seen anything yet. Energy development. Clinton will propose goal of renewable electricity to power every home in America within 10 years, quote, and slash oil consumption by 1/3. So it's definitely a bearish on the oil industry. And Trump promises to revive the U.S. fossil fuel sector, so meaning oil, gas, coal, all those things, including reducing regulations on oil companies, gas companies, coal companies, reducing the regulations that they face currently. Next one's up is we are looking at science and technology. Clinton would increase funding for scientific research at agencies like the National Institutes of Health and National Science Foundation. From right now, I haven't seen Trump come out with any stance, but that's not the most important subject in the world, in my opinion, affecting the economy. So neither one of those, should be judged that harshly, in my humble opinion, on that subject. Some of these other subjects get much more weight, in my opinion. Income inequality. Clinton plans to address this by creating a 15% tax credit for companies that share profits with workers on top of wages and pay increases. Trump, from what I understand right now, has offered few details beyond his tax plan, and he has made comments that CEO pay is ridiculous, how much some of the big CEOs are making compared to their workforce and things like that. So, but I haven't seen any specific details. If you guys know any, I would love to see it in the comments section. Wall Street regulation. Clinton supports keeping Dodd-Frank law. In some cases, would tighten rules for Wall Street, such as such as taxing high-frequency trading. And Trump says he would dismantle Dodd-Frank. Now, Dodd-Frank was supposed to be a great thing, but a lot of people have now seen that maybe the banks are just getting bigger by having Dodd-Frank, and it's just making the big banks even bigger and too big to fail. That's a big subject. So that's why Trump has come out and been against that. Clinton wants to keep it and says it's working good. We haven't seen any crazy recession or any type of, bubbles yet. Now that's for you guys' judgment. Do you see bubbles out there? Do you think Dodd-Frank's a good thing, bad thing? Let me know in the comment section. Small business. Clinton would ease regulation burdens on community banks and support innovative financing methods. Trump has sharply criticized government regulation, but has not proposed specific policies. But Trump has come out time and time again, said he would take down a lot of regulations for small businesses. I know I face regulations in my business because I fly drone and things like that I face regulations. So he wants to try to get rid of a lot of the regulations that kind of are expensive to small businesses. So it kind of drives out maybe some people. I don't know. It depends on what you guys think. Now, of course, there's the other side of it, which could say, regulations are a good thing because that prevents people from doing crazy things that they probably shouldn't be doing. What is your guys' take on that? Policies for working families. Clinton advocates equal pay, paid family leave, earned sick days, and expanded health care. And from right now, I haven't seen anything from Trump specifically in regards to policies for working families. So you guys can see there's some sharp differences between them. And if I was to tell you guys, in my opinion, what some of the biggest economic subjects are, in my opinion personally, taxes, very important because that affects everybody. Minimum wage, very important on where you stand there because it could affect things in a very good way. It could affect things in a very bad way. It's a big subject. TPP, absolutely a very big subject that I'm paying attention to. And then we have infrastructure. I think that's a huge subject as well. Energy development, a bit of a big one. Wall Street regulation, always a big one. Small business, very important to me because I'm a small business owner, so anything related to small business I pay attention to. So those are the most important economic subjects to me personally that I really pay a lot of attention to. And something that wasn't mentioned here that I wanted to mention is actually healthcare. Now, Clinton obviously is okay with Obamacare and wants to maybe expand on that a bit, whereas Trump said he wants to take out Obamacare day one if he can. So he's very against Obamacare. Clinton's very for the current plan, but healthcare is a big thing that can affect the economy. Because if you're paying so much more for healthcare, then that's less money you have to go out and spend to a business. That's less money that business has coming in as income, so they can go spend more money and give their workers more hours and maybe pay raises and those kinds of things. So absolutely, I think insurance is a very big thing that was not on this list that I think should definitely be paid attention to, you guys. So like I said, Clinton supports Obamacare, wants to expand on it. Trump wants to disassemble Obamacare and have insurance companies compete for your business outside of states and things like that, kind of like you can for some type of other industries that you buy insurance for and those kinds of things. So after this video, guys, hopefully you know some more information, or hopefully a lot more information than you need before this video you watched today here, guys. And you can make your own judgment. Do you think Clinton's plans are great? Do you think Trump's plans are great? Like I said, I would love to see some of your guys' discussion if you have a strong opinion on any of these subjects. Maybe you have a strong opinion about them all. I would love to see them. Maybe just one or two. I would love to see this stuff, guys. There's always pros and cons to almost everything in life. There's one side, there's the other side. I would love to see it. If you're watching this, guys, and you haven't subscribed yet, you may want to. I talk about personal finance in this channel. I talk about entrepreneurship. I'm an entrepreneur, and I talk about the stock market. And all three of those things, long-term, will be affected by depending on which candidate gets in office, because policies will change and all those kinds of things. Thank you for watching, guys, and have a great day.